Money can't buy love. Part 3. Victor felt like a schoolboy. I waited so much for an answer from the girl, and when I did wait, I was afraid to answer her. He did not know what to write to Alexandra in response to the question, who is this, a secret admirer or a guest of the restaurant? He decided not to rush to answer. To calm down a little, he looked into his social networks. The phone, as always, synchronized the contacts of its owner with the network, so in the recommendations he saw a familiar face. It was Alexandra. The man began to examine her photo. The girl turned out to be very cheerful, sociable and beautiful. In addition to photos, there were many funny videos in her feed. He could not stop looking at her page. With each scrolled post, Victor liked the girl more and more. He had already forgotten about the dispute with Sergei, forgot that in the afternoon, he just wanted to wipe his friend's nose. Alexandra was different from all the girls he had a relationship with. But most of all, he liked her lips in her. They are naturally plump. He immediately noticed that there was no silicone in them. For some, this will seem strange and stupid, but Moscow girls are not honest in this matter. And it is already a rarity who can see naturalness on the face. Victor did not notice that it was already deep night. He was distracted by the cleaning ladies who were expecting payment for their labor. After he said goodbye to them, he nevertheless decided not to answer the girl yet. He decided to visit that restaurant again and be a regular guest there until he personally meets her. In the morning, Victor decided to work at home because everything was exactly Sunday. He is the boss, no one would have reprimanded him, even if he had not come there on a weekday. But he was a responsible and serious person, so he could not afford to relax, because he lived according to the principle the fish rots from the head, so he believed that if he cooled down, then his subordinates would not work at full capacity. After working on a laptop, the man decided to have lunch. Of course, he went to the very restaurant. Entering the institution, he was overwhelmed with feelings of anxiety. At the bar he saw Alexandra. He sat down at a free single table and was already waiting for her to come up to him. Victor stared at the menu, but his eyes stared disobediently at the waitress. A couple of minutes later, a girl came up to him. "Good day. Ready to order?" A pleasant female voice sounded. Victor looked up and was immediately disappointed. Hello, yes, excuse me, but could someone else serve me?" he said, disappointed. "Excuse me, what's the matter?" Victor heard insult in the waitress's voice. No, don't get me wrong. So, I'm sorry, yes, I made a choice. Seafood soup, 2 slices of bread, mashed potatoes, steak and orange juice please. Anything else?" Resentment continued to sound in her voice. "No, thank you. And I'm sorry, you misunderstood me." "Everything is fine." The waitress turned around and left. Victor felt stupid. He turned his attention to the phone, but continued to watch what was happening around. He saw how the waitress approached Alexandra, and they began to discuss something. She looked at him, from which the man put the phone on the table and turned away from the window. A minute later, his phone vibrated, and out of habit, he immediately picked it up. The phone received an SMS. The subscriber Alexandra waitress. My heart pounded with a breakneck speed, and it was not in vain. After a couple of seconds, the sender was already standing at Victor's table. "Excuse me, but where did you get my number from?" she asked incredulously. Hello. What? The man almost choked on his own saliva. Then the girl poked something in her smartphone, and Victor's phone vibrated treacherously again. "Well," she said sternly. "Alexandra, looks like this is a bad way to meet a girl." He began to make excuses. "I went through my channels." Hearing this, the girl calmed down a bit. The frowning eyebrows disappeared from her face, and a faint blush appeared on her cheeks. "A very strange way, yes," she muttered. "My name is Victor." The man got up from his chair and held out his hand to the girl to shake hands, but then he realized that it looked strange, so he sat down abruptly. "Well, you already know my name, Alexandra." A sweet smile appeared on the girl's face, from which something skipped a beat in Victor's chest. "Very nice, and very glad to meet you personally. Alexandra, maybe we..." He did not have time to finish, he was interrupted by a girl. "Victor, sorry, we are not supposed to communicate with guests. Enjoy your meal." She has already started to leave. "When can we chat?" he asked her, raising his tone, because she had already moved away from him. The guest sitting next to him looked sideways at him. "After work," she whispered. She did not specify what time she would finish exactly, so he decided to wait for her until the last. It's good that he took his laptop with him, so after lunch, he started to work. So that he would not be kicked out of the restaurant, all day he ordered himself a cup of coffee, then some kind of bun with tea. He even dined there. At some point, he was so carried away by the work that he did not notice how all the visitors dispersed. Then he gathered his things and called the waitress for the calculation. Having paid for his orders, he looked around and did not see Alexandra. "Tell me, where is Alexandra?" he asked the waitress. "She's already gone," the girl muttered tiredly. "What? When? Okay, when is her next shift?" "Never, today was her last working day." "In what sense?" Victor asked, dumbfounded. "She quit. Sorry, but it's time for us to close." Victor did not understand how he felt. Already at the exit, he again ran his eyes around the hall, hoping to see her, but except for the administrator, the waitress who served him, and the cleaning lady, there was no one in the hall. He left the restaurant and did not know what to do next, where to look for her now. But then he remembered that he had her phone number. He immediately dialed it, but even then he was disappointed, the subscriber was unavailable. Continued follows. Signed so you don't lose the sequel.